This story is titled, During a Heated Argument, My Wife Boasted She Could Easily Find a Better Husband since many men were in love with her, so I left her. But when she realized nobody actually wanted her, she returned home, begging for forgiveness. Hey Reddit, I'm 32 years old, writing this at 3 a.m. on a Thursday because I can't sleep. I need to get this off my chest. My therapist said writing might help, and maybe my story can help other guys avoid the storm I went through. So here I am, about to spill it all. I was married to Kate, who's 30 now. We were together for 10 years and married for 7 of those. We met during our junior year of college, when she literally bumped into me at the campus coffee shop. She spilled her latte all over my engineering textbook, and somehow I ended up apologizing to her. It was a classic meet-cute that should have been my first red flag, but I was too blinded to see it. Kate was this gorgeous psychology major. Half the campus wanted to date her, with her long auburn hair and hazel eyes. She always dressed like she'd just stepped out of a fashion magazine. I still remember my roommate's jaw dropping when I first brought her over. "Dude, how did you land her?" he asked, which was a real confidence booster. "Thanks, man. I've always been a straightforward kind of guy. I grew up in a working-class family where my dad taught me the value of hard work. I put myself through college by doing construction work during the summers, sweating my life away carrying lumber and pouring concrete while my classmates had cushy office internships. It built character, though, and muscle, too. I'm 6'3" inches and 215 pounds. I've always made time for the gym, even during finals week. I'm not trying to brag, but I can bench 285 for reps and deadlift 415. Physical fitness has always been important to me, and I've maintained that discipline throughout my adult life. After graduation, I landed a job in cybersecurity architecture. I started at the bottom and worked my way up. Now I'm a senior security architect at a major tech company. I make good money, enough for our 3-bedroom house in the suburbs of Chicago, my Mustang GT that Kate always hated, plus her endless shopping sprees at Nordstrom and Lululemon. The first few years of our marriage were good. We traveled everywhere and had tons of fun. We were that couple everyone hated because we seemed perfect. Kate worked as an office manager at a medical clinic. She made decent money, nothing compared to what I brought in after my promotions. But we were a team, or so I thought. Looking back now, I can see how things started changing around year 4 of our marriage. It was small things at first. Kate got really into social media, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. She started following all these empowerment accounts, and suddenly everything became a microaggression or emotional labor. If I didn't notice she changed the throw pillows or got highlights, I was not paying attention to her needs. Meanwhile, I was putting in 60-hour work weeks and getting called at 2 a.m. when our network got hit with ransomware attempts. I was still hitting the gym 4 times a week to stay in shape, handling all the yard work, taking her car for maintenance, and fixing anything that broke around the house. But God forbid I didn't text back within 5 minutes when she was out with friends. The friends were another issue. When we first got together, Kate had this tight group of college girlfriends, normal, fun women with jobs and relationships. But over the last 2 years, they all got replaced with a new crew from her workout classes. These were single women in their late 20s and early 30s who seemed to spend most of their time complaining about men and encouraging each other to know their worth, which apparently meant expecting royal treatment while offering nothing in return. Her new bestie, Victoria, was the worst. Divorced 3 times before 35 and always telling Kate things like, "Don't settle," and "He should be grateful to have you." I tried to be cool with them, even hosting barbecues and game nights. But I could feel their judgment every time I walked into the room, like being a stable, hard-working guy was somehow boring and pathetic. Red flags kept popping up, but I ignored them like an idiot. Kate started going out more and more with the girls. Thursday girls' night became Thursday, and Saturday girls' nights. She'd come home at 1 a.m., ignore my texts asking if she was okay, then get mad at me for checking up on her. She bought new clothes that were way more revealing than her usual style, and started wearing makeup even to go to the grocery store. Our bedroom situation deteriorated too. We went from having sex 3 to 4 times a week to maybe once every 2 weeks, always with her making it seem like she was doing me a favor. "I'm tired. I have a headache. I have to be up early." I heard every excuse in the book. But somehow, she had plenty of energy for those 6 a.m. workout classes. Still, I kept trying to be a good husband. I planned date nights she'd cancel at the last minute. I bought her gifts she'd return without telling me. I listened to her complain about work drama for hours while she scrolled through her phone anytime I talked about my day. It was classic entitled behavior, but I was too busy playing my role to see it clearly. Everything came to a head about 2 months ago. That's where the story really begins. I had just finished a brutal 16-hour day dealing with a major security breach. Some script kiddie found a zero-day exploit in our firewall, and my team and I had been working non-stop to patch the vulnerability and make sure no sensitive data was compromised. My eyes were burning from staring at screens all day. My back was stiff as hell, and I had a pounding headache from the stress. All I wanted was to come home, maybe eat something, and crash. I texted Kate around 8 p.m. to let her know I was finally heading home. No response, which wasn't unusual lately. I figured she was out with friends again. It was Thursday after all, Sacred Girls' Night. I got home around 9 p.m., heated up some leftover stir-fry, ate it standing at the kitchen counter, then crashed on the couch. I must have fallen asleep instantly because the next thing I knew, the front door was slamming and Kate was stomping into the living room at 11:45 p.m. Really, Lucas? Really? She threw her designer purse on the coffee table, hard enough to knock over my water glass. I've been texting you for the last hour. I sat up, groggy and disoriented, and pulled out my phone. There were 3 texts from her in the last 45 minutes, with the last one saying, "Hello, were you ignoring me?" "Sorry, I fell asleep," I explained while rubbing my eyes. "I was up since 5 a.m. dealing with that security breach. Told you about it earlier." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. "Of course, work is always more important than me. God forbid you check your phone when your wife needs you." I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. "What did you need, Kate? Is everything okay?" "No, everything is not okay." She was pacing now, arms waving dramatically. "My car was making that weird noise again. Natalie had to give me a ride home. I texted you to come pick me up, but apparently that was too much to ask." This was about the car I'd specifically asked her to take to the mechanic 3 days ago when she first mentioned the noise. The appointment I'd made for her that she'd skipped because she didn't have time. "Sorry about your car," I said. "I'll look at it tomorrow. I'm exhausted right now. Can we talk about this in the morning?" That's when she really lost it. "Exhausted? You're exhausted? What about me, Lucas? Do you have any idea how exhausting it is being married to someone who's never actually present? Who prioritizes work over his marriage? Who can't even be bothered to answer a simple text message?" I stood up then, feeling my patience wearing thin. "Kate, I was literally preventing our company from losing millions and potentially having customer data stolen. I'm sorry I couldn't drop everything because you ignored the car problem I tried to fix earlier this week." She stepped closer, her face flushed with anger. "This isn't about the car. This is about you never being there for me. About you checking out of this marriage." I almost laughed at the irony. "Me checking out? That's rich coming from someone who's barely been home for the last 6 months, who spends more time with her friends than her husband, who can't tear herself away from Instagram long enough to have an actual conversation." That's when she said it. The words that would ultimately end our marriage. "Well, maybe I wouldn't need to spend so much time away if you were actually fulfilling my needs." Her voice turned cold and calculated. "Plenty of men would want me. Men who would actually pay attention to me. Men who would appreciate what they have instead of taking it for granted." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. We'd had fights before, plenty of them. But this was different. There was an edge to her voice, a certainty that made me realize she wasn't just throwing words around to hurt me. She meant it. I stood there feeling my blood pressure skyrocket. In that moment, something fundamental shifted inside me, like a switch being flipped. I looked at the woman standing in front of me in her designer clothes with perfect makeup even at midnight, radiating entitlement, and realized she wasn't the same person I'd married. Or maybe she was, and I'd just been too blind to see it. "I don't care about those other men," I said, my voice steady and low. "But maybe you should go find out if they'll put up with your entitled behavior." Her eyes widened. She wasn't expecting that. She was used to me apologizing, backing down, trying to keep the peace. Not this time. The tension in the living room was suffocating. Kate's expression cycled rapidly between shock, anger, and something else. Maybe fear. Not physical fear, but fear of someone suddenly realizing they've miscalculated. "Excuse me?" she finally managed, her voice rising an octave. "My entitled behavior? That's what you think this is?" I didn't take the bait. Years of corporate negotiations had taught me when to engage and when to stay silent. I just maintained eye contact, breathing evenly. "Oh, I know you don't care," she continued, crossing her arms over her chest defensively. "Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you'd actually start doing something right for once if you did care. Maybe you'd be the man I thought I married. And there it was. The classic emasculation tactic. Question my manhood because I wouldn't bow to her will. It might have worked 6 months ago. Hell, it had worked for years. But something was different now. I felt like I was seeing clearly for the first time in ages. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The makeup caked on thicker than needed for a night out with girlfriends. The outfit that was a bit too revealing for just hanging at a restaurant. The carefully styled hair she'd spent an hour on before leaving. The subtle scent of perfume I didn't recognize. So many little details I hadn't quite registered until now. Instead of feeling hurt or angry, I felt something unexpected. Relief. Like I'd been carrying a 200-pound weight for years and could finally set it down. You know what, Kate? My voice was calm, almost conversational. You're right. I don't care anymore. I've spent years caring, years trying, years busting my ass to give you everything you wanted. And it's never been enough. She blinked, caught off guard by my tone. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm done. I reached for my keys on the counter. Not playing this game anymore? You want to find these other men who supposedly want you so badly? Go ahead. I won't be in your way. You're just going to leave? Just like that? Panic was setting in now. This wasn't how our fights usually ended. Normally, I'd be begging for forgiveness by this point. Yes, Kate, just like that. I grabbed my jacket from the coat rack. I'll be back for my things tomorrow. Where are you going to go? She demanded, following me to the door. I turned to face her one last time. That's not your concern anymore. There was no dramatic exit, no door slamming, no shouting. I just walked out, got into my Mustang GT, the one purchase she always complained was too flashy, and drove off into the night. As suburban streets gave way to the highway, a strange sense of peace washed over me. This wasn't how I'd imagined my marriage ending. Not that I'd ever really imagined it ending at all. But now that it was happening, it felt almost inevitable. Like we'd been on a collision course for years and had finally reached the impact point. I checked into a hotel near my office. Nothing fancy, just a clean place with a decent bed. I expected to lie awake all night replaying the fight and questioning my decision. Instead, I slept better than I had in months. I spent the next day in a weird state of calm productivity. I went to work, solved a couple of complex security issues that had been bugging me for weeks, and hit the hotel gym during lunch. My coworkers commented that I seemed different, more focused, more confident. Kate had texted me several times. Are you seriously not coming home? You're being ridiculous. Call me. Fine, be that way. I don't care. Classic manipulation tactics. I didn't respond to any of them. After work, I decided to grab dinner at this sports bar near the office, a place where a bunch of us tech guys sometimes hang out. Nothing fancy, just good wings and plenty of TVs showing whatever games are on. I wasn't really in the mood for company, so I sat at the bar instead of the main dining area. I was halfway through my burger when someone sat down 2 stools away. I glanced over and felt a jolt of recognition. I couldn't place him at first, but I knew I'd seen him before. He ordered a water with lemon, then looked over at me and did a double take. You're Kate's husband, right? I immediately tensed up. Who's asking? Derek, he said. I work at CrossFit Summit. Now I recognized him. One of the trainers at the gym Kate had started going to religiously about 6 months ago. She claimed it was empowering, the only thing that kept her sane. It cost $250 a month for an elite membership, which she insisted on. What about it? I kept my voice neutral, even though my mind was racing. Derek looked uncomfortable but determined. He moved 1 stool closer and lowered his voice. Look, man, I've seen you drop her off, pick her up. You seem like a decent dude, and there's something you should know. My grip tightened around my water glass. I'm listening. She's been telling everyone at the gym that she's planning to leave you, he said. Said you were emotionally unavailable, couldn't handle a strong woman. Said she was just waiting for the right time to break it off. I didn't react outwardly, but my mind was processing 1,000 thoughts at once. When did she start saying this? About 3 months ago, he answered. Right around when she started getting private sessions with Tyler. Derek's expression told me everything I needed to know. Tyler was the head trainer, an ex-college athlete who talks a big game and has a reputation for targeting married women. They've been hanging out after hours, not just at the gym, if you know what I mean. The final piece clicked into place. The late nights, new lingerie I never saw her wear, sudden passion for fitness, coldness toward me. Why are you telling me this? I asked, keeping my voice level. Derek shrugged. Tyler pulled the same thing with my sister last year. Wrecked her marriage, then dumped her 2 months later when some new challenge walked in. It's his pattern. He gets off on conquering married women, then gets bored. And like I said, you seem like a good dude. I appreciate it, I said, pulling out a 20 to cover my meal. Really, no problem, man. And, she doesn't know I'm telling you this. I'd like to keep it that way. I need this job. I nodded. This conversation never happened. As I drove back to the hotel, my mind was surprisingly clear. I should have been devastated, betrayed, furious. On some level, I was all those things, but mostly I felt vindicated. All those little doubts, all those moments of confusion, they suddenly made sense. What surprised me most was my lack of jealousy. I didn't care that she was sleeping with someone else. I cared that she'd lied to my face for months, made me think I was the problem when she was the one betraying our vows. But even deeper than that, a new emotion was emerging through the shock: determination. I wasn't going to be the victim in this story. Not anymore. I didn't confront Kate immediately. That would have been amateur hour. Instead, I went tactical. First, I texted her, "Need more time to think. Staying with a friend for a while." Her response was telling, "Whatever, take all the time you need. No, please come home. No, I miss you. Not even, are you okay?" Just annoyed indifference. Next, I opened my laptop and got to work. I'm an IT security specialist for a reason. I know my way around digital forensics, but I didn't even need those skills initially. Kate and I had a shared cloud account for family photos and documents. I logged in and noticed the automatic photo backup from her phone was still active. I found dozens of selfies she'd never shared with me. Mirror pics in gym outfits so revealing they barely qualified as clothes, poses that weren't just showing off fitness progress. Some were clearly taken in places I didn't recognize, hotel rooms from the look of them. Then I checked our phone account. We were on a family plan that I paid for. The call log showed dozens of long calls to a number I didn't recognize, always during her workout times or when I was at work. But the real goldmine was our backup cloud. Kate wasn't tech-savvy enough to realize deleted text messages from her phone backup could still be recovered if you knew what you were doing. And I definitely knew what I was doing. I found hundreds of messages between her and Coach T going back nearly 4 months. Some choice excerpts. Kate: "He has no idea, thinks I'm at spin class, lol Tyler. His loss when you coming over today?" Kate: "Soon as he leaves for work, can stay till 3 this time, Kate. Told him I'm going to that work conference next weekend." Tyler: "Perfect, got cabin booked, bring that black thing I like, Kate." He asked why I was being distant, almost felt bad for second Tyler. "Don't, he's not giving you what you need." I am, Kate. "When should I do it? Still think I should wait till bonus season, Tyler." Smart girl, get that money, then drop bomb. The messages got more explicit from there. I won't share those details, but trust me, it was enough to make me sick. This wasn't just a physical affair. They were actively plotting, laughing at me, using me. But I wasn't just collecting evidence for peace of mind. I had a bigger plan. Next, I pulled our financial records. As the primary breadwinner, I'd been depositing checks into our joint account for years. Kate worked part-time at the medical clinic, but her money mostly went to her self-care, shopping, spa days, those CrossFit memberships. I discovered she'd been spending over $600 a month on hotel rooms, expensive dinners, and gifts for Tyler. Using my money. Money I earned working overtime to give her the life she claimed wasn't good enough. Then I did something smart. I called my buddy Chris. We'd been friends since college, and he happened to be the best divorce attorney in the city. "Get ready," he told me after I laid out everything. "This is going to get messy, but I'll make sure you come out on top." Chris advised me to document everything: the texts, financial records, timeline. He also suggested I set up cameras in the house, not in private areas. He said that would be illegal. But Illinois is a one-party consent state for recordings, he explained. Set them up in common areas: living room, kitchen. If she brings him to your house or admits to the affair on camera, it strengthens your case significantly. So that's what I did. I bought some discreet security cameras and installed them when I went to get clothes while Kate was at yoga, aka Tyler's apartment, according to her text with Natalie. Then I transferred most of our savings into a separate account Kate couldn't access. Not all of it. That would be legally questionable. Just enough to protect myself. "Don't touch the joint account otherwise," Chris warned. "Keep paying bills. Keep everything normal. Don't give her any ammunition." So I maintained the status quo for 2 weeks. I told Kate I was trying to work through my feelings but needed more space. She seemed almost relieved, which only confirmed what I already knew. Meanwhile, I started working out with new intensity, hitting the gym every morning at 4:30 a.m. and taking my frustration out on the weights. I added 20 pounds to my bench press in just those 2 weeks. I started eating clean and got my body fat down to 11%. This wasn't out of vanity, but because I needed to be strong, physically and mentally, for what was coming. Finally, after 15 days of gathering evidence, building my case, and preparing myself, I texted Kate, "Coming home tomorrow. We need to talk." Her response was immediate. "Yes, we do. I have something to tell you too." I bet she did. I barely slept the night before the confrontation, not from anxiety, but from anticipation. For the first time in years, I felt in control of my life again. I spent the morning reviewing the plan with Chris, going over every possible scenario, every argument she might make, every tactic she might try. "Remember," he said, "she doesn't know what you know. That's your advantage. Let her talk herself into a corner before you show your hand." At exactly 6:30 p.m., I pulled into our driveway. Kate's car was there, along with another I didn't recognize. Interesting. I hadn't expected her to have company for this conversation, but it didn't change my plan. I walked in to find Kate sitting at the kitchen table with another woman, Victoria, her toxic bestie. They both had glasses of wine in front of them and fell silent when I entered. "Lucas," Kate started, her voice practiced and sad. "I'm glad you're here. I asked Victoria to be here for moral support. For both of us," she added unconvincingly. Victoria gave me a cold smile. "Hi, Lucas." I nodded but didn't engage further. Instead, I set my phone on the table, kept my jacket on, and remained standing. Power position, don't give up control of the room. "You said we needed to talk," I said calmly. Kate exchanged a look with Victoria, then turned to me with what I'm sure she thought was a compassionate expression. "Lucas, I've been doing a lot of thinking while you've been gone." I let her talk, let her spin her web. She went on about how she'd done soul-searching, realized we'd grown apart, how we wanted different things, how she deserved to be happy. Not once did she mention taking responsibility. Not once did she acknowledge her betrayal. It was all about how I had failed her, how I wasn't emotionally available, how I prioritized work over her. Victoria sat there nodding along, occasionally making small sounds of agreement, a supportive chorus to Kate's victim narrative. When Kate finally wound down, she gave me an expectant look, waiting for me to either fight back or break down. Instead, I did something that caught them both off guard. I smiled. "Are you finished?" I asked, my voice calm. Kate blinked, confused by my reaction. Yes, I think we should separate, Lucas. It's for the best." "I agree completely," I said. "But before we go any further, I think you should know that I know about Tyler." The color drained from her face so fast it was almost comical. Victoria's eyes went wide. "What?" Kate stammered. I placed my phone on the table, open to the text messages I'd recovered. "Your CrossFit instructor. The one you've been sleeping with for the last 4 months. The one you've been spending my money on. The one you were with last weekend when you said you were at a work conference." Victoria immediately jumped in. "You've been spying on her? Checking her phone? That's abusive behavior, Lucas." I turned to Victoria calmly. "I haven't touched her phone. These are from our shared cloud account. The one I pay for. The one that automatically backs up her messages. The ones she thought she deleted." Kate switched tactics immediately. Tears sprung to her eyes. "It's not what you think. He took advantage of me when I was vulnerable. I was lonely, Lucas. You were always working. Save it," I said, still calm. "I've already talked to Chris Thompson about filing divorce papers. I know about the hotel rooms, the gifts, the plans you two were making to wait until my year-end bonus before leaving." Her face changed then. The fake tears dried up instantly, and her expression hardened. "You think you're so smart," she hissed. "Fine. I was going to try to be nice about this, but you want to play hardball? I'll take you for everything you've got. Alimony, the house, your precious car. By the time I'm done with you, you'll be living in a studio apartment eating ramen." I just smiled because that's exactly what I was waiting for. "You might want to rethink that strategy," I said, pressing a button on my phone. The TV in our living room turned on, connected to my phone via Bluetooth. Security camera footage from our living room played, showing Kate and Tyler together on our couch just 3 days ago. Kate's voice on the recording. "Once the divorce is final, we'll sell this place. Buy something better. Lucas will pay for it all. His fault for being such a pushover all these years." Tyler's voice. "He has no idea what's coming, does he? Poor bastard." Her face went white as a sheet. Next to her, Victoria looked like she'd seen a ghost. "I've got hours of these," I said calmly. You bringing another man into our home while I was working to pay the mortgage. You discussing how to maximize what you could take from me. Planning it all for months. You can't record me without my knowledge, she sputtered. That's illegal. Actually, I can, I replied. Illinois is a one-party consent state, and these cameras are in common areas of a house that I own and reside in. Chris says hi, by the way. He's very interested in presenting these to a judge if you decide to fight dirty. Victoria stood up abruptly. I should go. This is between you two. Funny how quickly support evaporated when things got real. I didn't try to stop her as she grabbed her purse and practically ran for the door. Once we were alone, Kate's demeanor changed completely. The tears and anger vanished, replaced by cold calculation. What do you want? She asked, her voice flat. Clean break, I replied. You sign the papers Chris drew up. You get your personal belongings and your car. I keep the house, my retirement accounts, and everything else. No alimony, no lengthy court battle. You walk away, and we never see each other again. And if I don't agree, then we do this the hard way, I said. We go to court. I present all this evidence, the texts, the videos, financial records, showing you spending marital assets on your affair partner. Illinois may be a no-fault state, but judges still don't look kindly on this level of deception and financial misconduct. She was quiet for a long moment, calculating her options. Then she tried one last angle. She stood up and stepped toward me, her entire demeanor shifting. Anger and coldness melted away, replaced by something soft and vulnerable. She placed her hand on my chest, looking up at me with those hazel eyes that used to make my heart race. Lucas, baby, she said softly. We can work this out. I made a mistake. Tyler means nothing to me. It was just physical. I still love you. We can go to counseling, start fresh. I removed her hand firmly but gently. Save it, Kate. That might have worked on the old me, the guy who would do anything to keep you happy. He doesn't exist anymore. She stepped back, her expression hardening again. Fine. I'll sign your papers, but only because fighting you isn't worth my time. I have better things to do with my life than drag out a divorce with someone I don't love anymore. I nodded, not bothering to point out the contradiction with her previous statement. Chris will contact you tomorrow with the paperwork. As I turned to leave, planning to go back to the hotel for the night, she called after me. He's better, you know. In every way that matters. I paused, then looked back at her with genuine pity. I'm sure you think so. For now. Good luck, Kate. You're going to need it. 2 days later, she signed the papers without a fight. Chris said it was the cleanest divorce he'd ever handled. No court appearances, no drama, just signatures on dotted lines and freedom. I let Kate keep her car and personal belongings. She didn't fight me on the house or retirement accounts. She knew she had no leverage. The day she moved out, I didn't even show up. I had my buddy Nick there to make sure she didn't take anything that wasn't hers. According to him, Tyler showed up with his truck to help her move, looking smug the entire time. I couldn't care less. I spent that day hiking in the mountains, breathing in the clean air, feeling lighter with each step. It was over. I was free. The aftermath was the best part. About a month after everything was final, I was at the gym. A different one, not CrossFit Summit. When my phone buzzed. It was a text from a number I didn't recognize. Lucas, it's me. Can we talk, please? I almost blocked it immediately, but curiosity got the better of me. I replied with a single word. Why? The response came quickly. Tyler dumped me. Said I was too much drama. I have nowhere to go. My parents won't take me in. I lost my job. Can we meet just to talk, please? Turns out Tyler had already moved on to his next married target, a 26-year-old pilates instructor with a wealthy husband. Kate had quit her job at the medical clinic to focus on fitness. Tyler's suggestion, apparently, and now had no income. She'd leased an expensive apartment she couldn't afford on her own. Tyler had promised to move in, then bailed, and her toxic friends had abandoned her once she was no longer the queen bee in her relationship. I didn't respond to her text. I just blocked the number and went back to my workout. But that wasn't the end. She showed up at my house a week later, looking nothing like the polished, confident woman I'd been married to. Her hair was a mess, her designer clothes replaced by sweats, her eyes puffy from crying. Lucas, please, she said when I opened the door. I made a terrible mistake. I see that now. Everything I had, everything that mattered, I threw it away for nothing. What do you want, Kate? I asked, not inviting her in. Another chance, she whispered. I'll do anything. Counseling, whatever you want. I miss our life. I miss you. I looked at her for a long moment. Part of me, a small, distant part, felt sorry for her. But mostly I felt nothing. No anger, no love, no desire for revenge. Just nothing. No, I said simply. What we had is gone. You killed it. I've moved on and you need to do the same. But I have nowhere to go, she cried, desperation clear in her voice. My landlord is evicting me. My credit cards are maxed out. My parents won't help unless I move back to Wisconsin. Please, Lucas, I'm begging you. I sighed. That's not my problem anymore, Kate. You made your choices. Now you have to live with them. I closed the door gently but firmly. Through the window, I watched her stand there for several minutes, shoulders shaking with sobs, before finally walking back to her car. That was the last time I saw her. I heard through mutual friends that she did end up moving back to Wisconsin with her parents. She deactivated all her social media and disappeared from the life she'd built here. It's been 6 months now. The house is peaceful. I got promoted at work. All that extra energy from not dealing with Kate's drama made me even better at my job. I'm in the best shape of my life at 32. I started dating again last month. Nothing serious, just enjoying meeting new people who actually appreciate a man who has his life together. Sometimes I think about how close I came to being another divorce statistic, another guy paying alimony to a cheating ex-wife, another where did I go wrong story. But I trusted my gut, stood my ground, and refused to be manipulated. I won't say I'm not still healing. There are moments, usually late at night, when I remember the good times and feel a pang of what might have been. 10 years of my life shared with someone who ultimately betrayed me in the worst possible way. That leaves scars. But mostly I'm grateful. Grateful that I found out when I did. Grateful that I had the skills and resources to protect myself. Grateful for friends like Chris who had my back. Grateful that I didn't waste any more years with someone who didn't value me. To any guys reading this who feel something's off in their relationship, trust your instincts. Don't ignore red flags. Never let anyone make you feel like less of a man for expecting basic loyalty and respect. Since so many asked what happened after, Kate is indeed working at a mall kiosk in Wisconsin, selling phone cases now. Tyler has moved on to victim number 3, or probably number 33, knowing him. The Pilates instructor left her husband for him, only to get dumped 3 months later. Karma's fun to watch from a distance. Victoria actually reached out to apologize. She said she had no idea how bad it really was, that Kate had lied to her too. I politely accepted her apology, but I have no interest in maintaining that connection. My career is better than ever. I got that promotion plus a bonus for the security breach I handled. I'm using some of the money to renovate the house, erasing all traces of Kate and making it truly mine. I started rock climbing as a new hobby and met some cool people through that who don't know anything about my past drama. It's refreshing. I'm dating casually, nothing serious yet. I'm not rushing into anything and focusing on myself for now. Life is good.